I'm going to show you guys how to change brake pads and discs on a Land Rover, Range Rover Sport L494, exactly how the main dealer does it. Let's get straight to it. So guys, we've got a few items on the table here. We've got our front brake pads, we've got our rear brake pads, we've got our wear wires which indicate when the brake pads are low, we've got some tools, and we've got our brake discs. We also have Land Rover's topics guide, which is exactly what a main dealer is going to follow to get this job completed. Quick point to note guys, you will need some form of software to wind back the electric calipers. First step you guys can see here is raise and support the vehicle. Quick little side note, you always want to make sure that you're choosing brake discs that are coated. When I say coated, they're not straight metal. These are painted silver, i.e. coated, and these tend to rust along here and inside the vents as well. So this really does make the difference, makes them last longer and ultimately saves you money, and they're not that much more expensive, and it just means that you get a better braking performance for longer. So always go with coated brakes. So what I've done there is just flip the caliper up off of the carrier as per Land Rover. What I'm going to do is retract the piston, clean it all up, take the pads out, fit new pads, grease this slider and reassemble it onto this. So with the pads out, you see there's quite a difference here between thickness and material. Now we're going to retract the pistons before we clean everything up, just so we can get behind here with the wide brush. Now a tool I bought years ago, which is really handy, is a brake piston spreader. Now this is actually an Aston Martin tool, and it's a really wide, so it's good for big calipers just like this. And basically you wind it up and spread that open. Then push against the caliper, push the pistons back, and fingers crossed they retract. And there's always the risk, but it's always the worry that it's seized and these don't go back. So this side's fully complete, and we're just changing over the wear wire. Now the dash is symbolising the brake pads. Check the brake pads, and that is because of this little sensor. So you can see that it looks almost damaged. It's like got a cut through it, and that is because it's essentially just a loop of wire, and basically the brake pad is going to cut through that, which will break the connection, bring the light on in the car. So we do need to change a whole new wire. I'm unsure why this wire has to be so long, because it's tucked all the way up in the wheel arch, and you've got to make sure that it's routed the exact same way that it came off. Otherwise it could get tangled up. So I literally leave mine in situ. I'll plop this on the inside of the pad. It's going to go and click in there. And then obviously when the brake pad wears, it will make contact with the disc, it will cut through it. It is secured by the brake bleeder nipple there. So click that over there. That's that. And then you're going to follow it all the way up, click it in where it is, and that's that then replaced. All the brakes on the front done, all to factory specification, all following Land Rover topics. Everything's all good. So guys, that's our front set completed. You've got to make sure you get the pads the right way around. Just make sure that everything you take off, you put back together as you found it. Of course, this is only a guide. This is not to be taken as this is gospel. This is just the way we do it. This is the way that we follow Land Rover do it. We don't accept any liability. That's Land Rover's kind of deal. If you don't know what you're doing, then don't do it. Pay somebody else. We're going to be moving on to the rear. Now that we've retracted the EPB, which is the electronic parking brake. STD, the Land Rover system, insists that this vehicle is at 12.5 volts. We should be winding back the calipers now. So that's going to wind the electric parking brake back in so we can push the pistons back in. So now it's in service mode. You can't do it without that. There is a way to do it inside, or you can actually get these little tools now, handheld tools, which basically wind back the electronic parking brakes. Or there is actually a way to do it without any tools, which is, I think you put the ignition on, you push down the handbrake and then the accelerator. There's probably another video on YouTube with some more information, but it will basically retract the pistons inside the caliper for the parking brake. It must be done, otherwise you can't get the pistons back. And then it's just a regular brake job. We have got the Land Rover, the topics guide here. This is what the main dealers will be using to basically change your brakes. So we're going to be jumping into this now, and it's basically saying brake pads. That's what we need to be doing first. And it says, of course, brake pads must be renewed in axle sets only, so you cannot just do one side. Release the electronic parking brake, which we have done. Raise and support the vehicle, of course, we've done that. On a suitable two-post lift. I'm sure you can do that on the floor, but there we go. Remove the wheels and tyres. And then it's basically just remove the wear sensor on this side, I believe. And then undo the caliper carrier bolts. There's nothing too specific about how, you shouldn't attempt this sort of thing. It's pretty straightforward. On a Defender, it's behind the hub, so a little bit more involved. This is pretty straightforward. We'll jump straight in and get these fitted. Oh, look at that. Cable ties, tut, tut, tut. Just won't do, will it? Someone's been here before, which is genuine. Bendix pads. Never heard of them. Bracket coming up, yeah? So I'm just greasing up the sliders and cleaning up the whole assembly. Now you want to pay particular attention to the sliders, because this is actually how your piston works. Your piston's got pistons on one side, and they basically just do it from one side, and that allows the whole carrier bracket to move and squeeze. If the sliders seize, so if you don't grease those, or if someone doesn't grease them and they fill up with water and get rusty, what's going to happen is as it squeezes, it might not let go and it burn out one side of the inside of the pad, just meaning that you have to replace the pads sooner and the disc sooner, and eventually it could lead to caliper failure because it could be moving on one side. Just one of those things. You've got to make sure that these, you know, that everything is allowed to operate as it was designed. You don't need to go over the top as well. You don't need to send this whole thing off to powder coat. It would be nice. But in terms of general maintenance, just a clean up of where it actually operates and the job it does is perfectly sufficient. So now same again, rear disc. These ones don't have inboard shoes, so under here you won't have any parking brake shoes or anything like that because of the electronic caliper. I don't know who's been here before, but that's very tight and it shouldn't be that tight. A nice simple switch that, take that off. And again, yeah, just want to clean up the hub round here because we want to make sure this disc sits perfectly flat. Don't want to put too much grease on. That's probably a bit too much over there, but it won't cause any harm. It just stops that corroding in the future, makes the next person's job nice and easy. I've had it before. We've had to beat them off, beat the discs off with a hammer, and it's just not ideal. So we'll get out our new coated disc again. If you want to do this, please make sure that you buy a coated disc because it just prevents, where the brakes aren't running here and in those vents, it just makes them last longer. So you want to make sure that you're getting coated brakes. And of course you want to make sure you've got the right parts too. .35 Newton meters on that little bracket there. That's it. This is part of the reason we did the electronic service brake retraction. This is your electronic parking brake, and it's basically just a little motor, some gear assembly that will push the piston down so that when you press your parking brake, it pushes the piston and the pads into your rear brakes. If I was to now, because I need space because of the new pads, I need to squish that piston back. If I was to crush that back in with all this assembly pushed down, I wouldn't be able to do so. So you need to be careful here because you need some jaws to squeeze against that. You can't snap off this of the body, or a spreader tool. We have a spreader tool, which is good. This is just a nightmare. We've just retracted the calipers and now we can't get the piston back. Should I call Leon? Good afternoon, Mr. Richardson.
Yes, hi.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Hi, not too bad.
Leon, need you, since you're still on the clock a little bit, I need a bit of a technical assistance. We've wound back the calipers on the Range Rover Sport.
Yeah.
Pistons won't retract.
Yeah, just go through the procedure.
Right, you have to run through the procedure again. Park brake is in maintenance mode. I'm going to leave this for Leon. So Leon's here this morning and we're just having a little fiddle, and we've also done it manually with the handbrake and the accelerator, and the pistons have gone back. We've heard them go back.
Heard the motor wind back, but
Yep.
it's still piston's not moving. So
Piston's not moving, so we're going to take you guys along the diagnostic process because this is the stuff that you don't see. You know, I could just edit this all out and say, there you go, brakes all done. But if you are doing this on the driveway and you think, what's going on? We have these problems too. And it could be a caliper, but I don't want to spend the money on two calipers if we don't need it. So what we're going to do is take the motor assembly out the back, squeeze it, try it again. If that doesn't go back,
try hydraulically, take off the bleed nipple.
then we'll take off the bleed
pull
nipple.
this out.
and basically get this brake sorted. If it comes down to it, we're going to need 2 new calipers, but I'm reluctant to because the wear on the discs looks very even. It looks like it's not caliper fault, but you never know.
Chance that 2 calipers going as well at the same time. So
Exactly, and it's a lovely car. There's no leaks, no nothing like that. It hasn't been off-roaded, so let's take the motor off and see what's going on. So what are you doing, hydraulic first?
Yeah, it's just easy.
Easier than taking the motor off.
Yeah.
And these are plastics so they could snap, which is never ideal, but...
I think there's these little metal collars in here from what I remember as well.
Shoo-wee. So we will need to bleed this, obviously, if this is the case, and we can get the piston back like this, we will have to bleed up the rear calipers.
Bloody hell.
Tight?
Yeah. Very.
That probably means that they haven't been bled in a long while. We've ordered Leon a juice baby grow. For his son that comes out, yeah, just basically get him straight in it, give him a 10mm and a 13mm and an 8mm.
Yeah, and get on
and
with
a baby grow.
Do
Beanie hat, do mechanics. Get cracking.
And
We'll basically just put an iPad in front of him with the whole of our YouTube channel, watch every single clip, and see you Monday.
Yeah. That's it, apprenticeship completed.
We're going to cheat here. We're going to do a little bit of cheating, which is sometimes it's a little bit naughty, but sometimes it has to be done. Yeah. Just a gentle.
I'm gonna wait for that face.
Snap. There you go.
Is it gone?
Yeah. Well, it's just enough for you to now do it manually. See?
You never like doing stuff like that.
You know what?
Yeah, I know, Bill.
You and your books.
No, it's no books, mate.
I'm real life over here. We get it done. To be fair, this is where the manual doesn't help you because it just says press piston back.
Yeah.
And this is where
With your fingers.
mechanics is easy. Everything's easy though. But when you come across a problem, you need to pull out every single tool in the garage.
Right, well, it's...
Is it going back? It's leaking.
It's leaking.
Right, plug it in, and now try and compress it.
But now it's... I can't get a turn on it either.
It's going back.
There is no such
Oh, that is tight.
Yeah, there's no such thing as problem solving with JLR because everything's perfect and everything's manufactured to the highest of standards.
Of course. But this is the funny thing, because I remember when I was at Land Rover, do you remember when there was like a bleed nipple seized?
Yeah.
Their trick was to get some blue tack, surround the bleed nipple, and then fill it with Coca Cola.
Yeah, Coca Cola and then a low impact like rattle gun.
What was that?
It worked.
Coca Cola. Right, have any of you guys seen this?
That was on Brembos, on the front Brembos, on the...
Blue tack round the bleed... Play-Doh round the...
Yeah.
Play-Doh around the bleed nipple, and then fill it with Coca Cola. Why would that work?
The acid in the Coca Cola, actually A2A, leave it overnight, and come back in, and you get this like little rattle tool, and all it does is like, it's not like a rattle gun like you just used, and it would just literally just undo it very slowly, and it would come undone. And then you take it out, clean it up.
What?
And it would work.
Have you ever done that since?
Not since, no, because I've not done front brakes on.
Why on Brembos? Are they aluminium?
It's because they used aluminium calipers with a steel nipple, and it would just corrode.
There you go. If you're stuck with Brembos and you can't get the bleed nipple undone.
Nothing to say about sliders either.
Play-Doh and Coca-Cola. Full fat or Coke Zero, Diet Coke?
No, it has to be full fat.
Does it have to be Coca-Cola or
Yeah.
Can it be store brand imitation?
No, it's Coke.
It has to be Coca-Cola.
It has to be Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I was gonna say,
That doesn't say that in the manual though. If you're stuck, Coca-Cola, Play-Doh. Let me know, guys. Drop a comment if you guys have ever heard of this in the mechanical industry. I'm sure it will work with bolts as well. Play-Doh, Coca-Cola, leave it overnight. I've never heard of it. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, these are Terra Firma's performance pads on a heavier vehicle, something like this. They're pretty well priced actually as well. The compound is slightly better than like a cheaper brake pad. The one worry you have about a luxury vehicle is if you go ahead and fit really cheap brakes, you have the potential for them to, one, underperform, two, they can rattle because the tolerances aren't too good on the manufacturing, and they could also just disintegrate very quickly because they're cheap. So we've gone for a performance setup here. We know Terra Firma are very good. We've also gone for coated brake pads. And also, the one thing with Land Rovers like this is they can squeak. So you want to get good quality pads and discs. Why both stiff then?
Don't know.
Some of them are like this though.
Can't get a screwdriver in there now.
So if we update the list for tools you'll need for the job, you need one Leon, which is available to purchase on our website now.
Yeah. Clones now available. Oh, mate.
Well, mate. Well, at least that was nice and straightforward. So, guys, if you do have problems retracting a caliper, do try and crack off the bleed nipple, because that might be your issue, and you should be able to get the piston back then. And then obviously you need to bleed the brakes after. If you can't get the bleed nipple undone, try the Coca Cola trip. Well, we'll let them just finish this assembly, and then we'll have a little chat about it after. So these are mega tight.
I don't do anything, I only hold the disc on.
I know, I mean the wheel will hold that on, but it just keeps it for whilst you're doing your job, I suppose. 35 Newton meters. I suspect not.
Nice bit of grease on there will help. Disc. Otherwise, it gets all
What do
ripped.
you think? I was telling the viewers yesterday
Yes.
about cleaning the face of the hub with a Y brush or drill bit attachment.
At Land Rover, we used to have quite a few come back because people never used to do that.
Wobbling.
Yeah, wobbling when braking.
When I'm going 120,
Yes, sir, of course.
wheels are back on, car's on the ground.
What the hell are they?
They're my Crocs, there's nothing wrong with these. These are absolutely the best shoes available.
They're not Molly's either, it says size
They're
11.
mine. They're not size 11, I'm size 8. We've got ocean stuff in the back here, you've got a little pheasant. That's my
Oh
shoe.
yeah, no, that. Yeah, there you go. Size.
Size 9, there you go.
Sorry, I looked at that.
What's that, mate? I wear them, no problem at all. You probably see me in the local Tesco's roaming around in those on a Sunday. 100%. I'll take them into public. I'm not shy.
Walkie-talkie.
So guys, now that our brake pads and discs are installed, all we're just going to do is bleed up the back calipers, throw the wheels back on, and the job is totally complete. Now that is exactly how Land Rover want us to do the job, and we have followed their instructions, apart from when we had a small issue with the rear calipers here. But I hope you guys have learned something. Please do drop a comment, a like. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. There's going to be a lot more workshop kind of videos. Stick around. See you guys on the next one.